Good evening, everyone, and welcome to This Week from Rockdale. And I am your host, as usual, Larry Cox. Let me go ahead and say hi to some folks in the chat before we get going with any of the show's activities tonight. Doug with them. Hey, Doug, how you doing today? Charlotte Gellert, nice to have you here today, Charlotte. Ben and Cheryl Garcia, great to have you here. William Campbell, great to have you here tonight. Judy Bonds, great to be here. Mary Boysworth, great to see you, Mary. And thanks again for inviting me to Lake Capri HOA this past week. I had a great time talking to your crowd, answering questions. Just anybody out there, if you've got anything you want me to come speak at, reach out to me, let me know. No problem. I will make a date and we will come and talk to you about everything that I'd like to do as your next member of the Board of Education. Jill Oden, great to have you. Marie Withers, great to be here. Cheryl Molden, great to be here today. So, guys, it was great. Great. Like I said, it was a great time out there at Lake Capri. Great group of folks. A lot of good questions. Mr. George Kelichek from the Taxpayer was able to join me out there. Corliss Turner from Voices for Rockdale was able to come. Miss Tina Hobbs was able to come. So we had some guests come out there to support the people at Lake Capri as well as yourself, the candidate. I showed up and did a little talk, and I think the people there got to hear some things they usually don't hear. They got to they got a little bit of an awakening of what's going on in the school system, and they got an understanding of how things are really run here in Rockdale County at that level. Daniel Munoz, Daniel, great to have you. Hey, Danny, don't forget here in March after I officially qualify at some point, I'm going to have you interview me because I can't not have somebody come and grill me on this show, and Daniel Munoz is going to put me through the ringer. Uh, that's what I want to happen. I want to be put through the ringer, and I'm fine with being put through the ringer because I can handle the heat. That's all I know. So I'm ready for some heat. Angela Asprino, welcome to the show. Thanks for joining me tonight. Guys, I just am excited about what's going on in this community here in Rockdale County. I'm excited about the feedback that uh, uh, oh, yeah, I'm going to take you to task. Andy's always going to say, I'm going to take you to task. So, but I'm excited about that, guys. I'm excited about getting interviewed. I'm excited about what's going on here in the community. I'm excited about the speaking engagements that I've had. I'm excited about the future. I'm excited about, the folks in Rockdale County and what I've been talking to other people running for office too. And this is what they've been hearing. The folks in Rockdale County are just tired of the status quo. They're tired of just things going on as normal, and they're ready for a change. They're ready for new things to happen. So I've said hi to all you guys. Now let's you do me a favor, share and like this show so we can spread this to our neighbors and other people can know what's going on here in Rockdale County. And they know that This Week from Rockdale is the place to come to hear the things that are going on that you don't hear in a lot of places. And we discuss these things and we're open and transparent with the discussion. People will hear me say things on the show and they'll think, well, that's just his opinion about some things that I say, and then they find out from other people and different officials that daggone it, that Larry Cox knew what he was talking about. Guys, I do a lot of research, I do a lot of talking, I do a lot of investing time on these issues so that I come to you well informed about what's going on with these issues and what's going on in Rockdale County. So, share this show, tell somebody about this show, bring somebody to the show on Sundays. So, and especially as we're getting into this campaign season, and things are going on, and we're going to have decisions to make here in Rockdale County about who is going to represent us moving forward. And we need to make sure that the everyone is aware of who the candidates are, what they stand for, and what it will mean if someone new gets elected or if the same people get elected. But we all need to know what that brings to the table. So, what's the latest thing that I think we need to discuss on this show that's so relevant and it's actually a little bit surprising not. So the Board of Commission has decided to put forth a resolution to give themselves a raise, and they're going to vote on it themselves. So in this raise, last year, if you all recall, in 2023, the legislature passed legislation that gave the judges a raise. Now, when the judges got a raise, the way that the Rockdale County Charter is written, the elected officials in Rockdale County, the constitutional officers, the Board of Commissioners, the tax commissioner, the sheriff, the county clerk, those individuals also receive a raise because their pay is based on a percent against what the Superior Court judge makes, the head Superior Court judge. So they make a percent of the salary of what that makes, the state pays. Then the county offers a stipend, they offer a supplement. The county supplements that pay. So the county is now voting this year to increase the supplement after these guys all got a raise last year. Since the judges got a raise, they got a raise because they get a percent of what the judge makes. So that since the judge has got a hefty percent, then that means they got a hefty raise. Now they're going back to the well again, but this time they're going to give themselves a raise. And this coming Thursday, they're going to be a public hearing about it, and that's going to be interesting. I intend on going. Don't know if I'm going to speak yet or not. I'm going to see. I'm going to just see what the wind does out there and to decide what I'm going to do later this week as far as speak or not. I may speak. I probably will speak because I can't help myself when it comes to that situation. But you've got these three commissioners are going to vote to give themselves a raise when, George Kilichek with Eye of the Taxpayer came to the meeting the other day and he brought some documentation on how much the city, county, and the Board of Education have raised property taxes over the last 6 years. 187%. In a 6-year cycle, these entities have raised property taxes in Rockdale County 187%. Have any of you got a 187% raise the last 6 years? I don't think so. I don't think that that any of us has gotten an 187% raise in our salaries over the last 6 years. So it is just ridiculous about what is going on and what these idiots are doing. Charlotte Gellert, 0 raise. And that's, it's a shame that we've got these individuals who are so disconnected from this community and in its arrogance, because they really don't see that this community is upset. They don't see that this community is strained financially by all these taxes. They just don't see it. They just keep going back to the well for more and more and more. And the citizens of Rockdale County, I mean, there's only finite land. There's only so much tax that can be collected. But, we've talked about it. These individuals are taxing people out of their homes. And that's a reality. These individuals are actually taxing people out of their homes. They don't get it and they don't care. You got to remember, 2 of the 3 don't even pay property taxes. So we're talking about people who were passing things that they don't even have to help finance or fund. So guys, we've got to stand up and say enough is enough. I'm going to encourage everyone to come uh, to this meeting this coming Thursday, so that we can all let's just see a great outpouring of people that just say no to these raises. Enough is enough. Enough is enough. I've told you folks many a times, we don't have a money problem in Rockdale County. We have a spending problem. The county has plenty of money to do the things they need to do. It just comes down to allocation. I've spoken at several meetings here in the last 2 weeks about the Board of Education also having plenty of money to finance the education in Rockdale County. It's just allocating that money properly so that we can properly finance education in Rockdale County. And that's the same thing with the Board of Commission and the City of Conyers. You guys get plenty of money. It's time to allocate those funds properly. Cut out waste, cut out frivolous spending, cut out the nonsense, and fund just what we need. With the county, everybody doesn't need a vehicle with the Board of Commission and the county government. With the Board of Elections, Board of Education, everybody doesn't need a vehicle. We need to eliminate those vehicle pools. Go back to the day when we pay you a salary, you provide your own transportation. Because the citizens of Rockdale County are being taxed out of their homes, and they're being taxed at a magnitude that they do not have the finances to continue providing all these free cars, fuel, and all this stuff to people. It is ridiculous. Enough is enough. It's time to stand up, let your voices be heard, and say, it's time to elect different people to office. It's time to put someone else in office who will represent your desires, your needs, and put you first. The taxpayers of Rockdale County have been paying this bill long enough, and it's time now for somebody to look out for their interest. So we start by, let's not elect incumbents. Let's not elect people who have held these offices 4 years, 8 years, 12 years. We need to elect people who are new to this system. I have not been elected to office in Rockdale County. I think you should elect me. My friend Justin Kinney, who got appointed and's been on the job for less than a year. Justin Kinney needs to be reelected. They've got a guy running against Justin Kinney now who is a Terry Oates plant. We need to make sure that Justin Kinney gets reelected to the Board of Education, that I get elected to the Board of Education, so that we can change the majority of the board and real change can happen. We have to make sure that Oz Nesbitt does not get elected again as chairman of Rockdale County. We have to make sure that Sherry Washington does not get elected again as post one commissioner. There are also several other people running for Board of Education seats. If they are not an incumbent, I urge you to vote for them. If they are someone who has not been elected to office before, they're running for the Board of Education, vote for them. Let's switch as many seats of these as we can. And if we do that, it can be a new beginning for these students and for these teachers. I spoke with several teachers this week who have left the Rockdale County school system. And it's very common when I ask them, why did you leave? And they say two words. Two words when I ask them why they left. Could I ask anyone in the chat, would you have a guess? Could you type in the two words that were told to me? And this was unanimous. I mean, I spoke to uh, at least a half a dozen former teachers this week that taught in Rockdale County. One of them taught for 22 years in Rockdale County. 22 years. And the discipline, leadership and discipline comes down to leadership and discipline. Those were some of the Jill Odom, Cheryl Garcia. Exactly. It came down to Terry Oates. Every one of them. Now, they did mention poor leadership. They did mention discipline and pay. But the primary reason, the first thing they all said, they left because Terry Oates. And you're right, Danielle. They all did mention student discipline was terrible. They mentioned poor leadership. They mentioned pay. So all those things were mentioned. But the first two words that came out of their mouth was Terry Oates. Several of them even talked about, that when they looked at his poor performance when he was a principal in Henry County, did we think we were going to get something different than that individual who was a principal in Henry County? And, it's interesting when we hear, why did you leave a teaching position that you were here for 22 years? Terry Oates. I couldn't handle it anymore. Then they would go on to tell you, under Oates, the discipline has gotten crazy. Under Oates, just the demands of the paperwork on the teachers has gotten ridiculous. And just the nonsense that's required. Under Terry Oates, this has happened. This has happened. This has happened. But there's one common denominator. When they mention all the complaints, they first say Terry Oates. So, and I've talked about this at several of my things, and I've talked about this on the show last week. Poor leadership reflects all the way through an organization. Poor leadership at the top reflects to a poor product at the bottom. Poor leadership reflects all the way through an organization. So we've got to change the leadership in this school system before anything changes. But it's not just the school system with poor leadership. We also have a board of commission that at the top has poor leadership. It's just terrible. It's just terrible. And Danielle, and you're right, the pay was not actually mentioned. They did not mention pay. One of the 6 former teachers I spoke with, they did not mention pay. Terry Oates, discipline, they mentioned structure, they mentioned cutting teachers, shifting monies to the central office. They mentioned those type things, right? They mentioned bringing unqualified administrators in, running good administrators off, bringing people in that would protect him, not really worried about educating students or making sure we had a good system, but worried about protecting Oates. That's the message that I got this week from these folks, and it's horrible. So I mean, we've got to realize, guys, that with poor leadership, it reflects all the way through, and with that poor leadership at the school level and at the county level, it reflects into the citizens, right? I mean, we're getting all this poor leadership, and it's where do we go? Where do we turn? And today somebody had mentioned to me that they were supporting this person or that person, and somebody said, "Well, all politicians are corrupt. They're all in it for money." Guys, I'm not in it for any money. It's costing me more to run for office than I'm going to make at this position, right? So it's not about money. Running for this office for me is not about money. And I'm going to tell you another man that I know. It's not about money. He doesn't need any of this money, and that's Modessa Ahmad, running for chairman of Rockdale County. Mr. Ahmad does not need the money that he's going to make from that chairman position. Doesn't need a dime of it. And I don't need a dime of the money that the salary that'll be paid to the board of education from me for a board of education member. I'm doing it because I want to make a difference. I know Mr. Ahmad is doing it because he wants to make a difference. Justin Kinney, I know, is not doing it for the money. He's doing it because he wants to make a difference. There are people who are running for these offices because they want to make a difference. And it's not about personal gain, because we've been able to succeed in our personal lives, in our careers, in other ways. We want to actually take our ability to succeed and help you and help this community. That's what I want to do. I want to take my abilities that I've used in the business world and bring them to the educational system of Rockdale County, because we need some common sense leadership in Rockdale. Now, Molly Cox, you hear her in the background. She agrees 1,000% with what I'm saying, and she's saying, vote for my dad because he knows what he's talking about. That's what Molly was saying. If you don't understand, dog, that's what Molly was saying. But guys, we've got to make a difference in this county and say enough is enough. When we've got our Board of Commission who is going to propose a $185,000 budget increase to increase 6 different people's salaries. $185,000, 6 people. Guys, that's a lot of money. A lot of money for 6 people. It's a big split. Now, chairman going to get, you have the chairman, the tax commissioner, the clerk are going to get the lion's share. Then you've got the post 1 and post 2 are part-time, so they're going to get smaller cut. But you've got these folks, $185,000 is what they're intending on raising the budget for these pay increases, these subsidies that the county's going to kick in. Guys, if you need that money that's paid, that salary, that government salary, then we don't need you in office. If you don't have other revenue sources, if that is your source, if that is your revenue, we do not need you in office because you are too subject for corruption. If that money is what's keeping you out of the poorhouse, we do not need you serving in Rockdale County. I'm just telling you guys. I mean, some people may not want to hear that, and that may be hurtful to some folks. But I'm just telling you right now. Charlotte, you asked a question. What are they going to cut to fund the 85? They're not going to cut one single thing, and they're not going to cut one single thing. But we've come up with a plan to add 2 commissioners, not cost a dime, and they won't do it because they say we'll have to raise taxes. But they've come up with a cockamamie plan to raise their own salaries, and you don't hear them talking about complaining about raising your taxes to raise their salaries, do you? Not one iota. Not one iota. Guys, these guys are ridiculous. The fact that they've just come out with this nonsensical plan to give themselves a raise during election year shows you they don't respect you or think one thing about you. They have no respect for you whatsoever. They do not think you know what's going on at all. They do not give you any consideration whatsoever. Jill Oden, 100%, our grocery budget. They're not going to cut one single thing. They're going to raise your taxes. That's what they're going to do. They're going to raise your taxes to do that. It's ridiculous, guys. It is ridiculous. We need to stand up, say enough is enough. Are you guys with me out there? Are you guys willing to start spreading the word and letting people know enough is enough? Let's vote for change. Let's vote for different people. Let's put some new people in office. Let's put some people in office that can make a change and do some different things. And we'll treat the money as if it's their money and not just some disposable monies that they're spending. That's the problem. The problem is you've got a group of individuals who are not fiscally responsible. And to them, this is like monopoly money. This is monopoly money. That's what they're spending this money, just like monopoly money. And that's got to end. It's got to end, guys, and it can end. It can end by voters like you and I saying enough is enough. And we take this to the scoreless Turner. 100%. We need a street campaign. We need people helping candidates that are running for office to get elected because we can't do it. We really can't do it on our own. We really can't. And Mary, 100%, Charlotte, vote no on that East Blast. I intend to vote no for the East Blast. Now, I do think the East Blast, if used properly, okay thing. But I think we need a citizens oversight committee that reports back to the board, not to the superintendent and his cronies, because that's who decide who spends this money. Now, it's the superintendent that decides, and his cronies, they're the ones that budget and decide how this money is spent. The board just goes along with it and rubber stamps everything. We need a board that just is not going to go along and rubber stamp everything. We need a board of commission that's going to put you first and thought their needs first. Where you need a board that's going to put you first and the needs of the county first, and not the needs of the people who are in helping line their pockets. Guys, we are in desperate times here in Rockdale County, and we need change immediately. We need change now, and we've got to have that change. And I think if folks like you, because we've got some influential people that watch this show, we've got people who have a voice, who people listen to, and you can get on your platforms, you can get on your next door platform, you can get on your Facebook page, you can get on your Twitter or X, or whatever that is, you can get on your accounts, and you can spread the word. These are the candidates that I think we should vote for. You can, when we put things out there, you pass the word on. You tell people, hey, this guy's running for office. I think he's a good guy. Go to his website. Go to votelarrycox.com. That's what we need to do, guys. We need to start spreading the word, spreading the message, so that people like myself, Modessa Ahmad, Justin Kinney, that you can elect guys, people like us, that can make a difference in this county. That, if somebody has served 2 terms, 3 terms, that's enough, guys. They're not going to do anything different. They're going to follow the same path and pattern that they've had. They're not going to do anything different in that position if they've held it more than 2 times. They're going to ride that position and just keep cruise control. I'm going to be honest. We've had, I told you guys, I'm running for this post, and you had this guy, Kevin, and he filed for it. And Kevin's a nice guy, but I don't think in any way he is prepared or knows enough to hold the post position, the Board of Education position. Mandy North was not intending to run again for this post, but she was talked into it by Oates and other members of the current majority of this board, because they are terrified that someone like me is going to get elected who sees through the nonsense and is going to question them and call them out. Because just because I question you doesn't mean I'm undermining you. It means I'm questioning your motives and the narrative and why you're doing what you're doing. That's what it means. Enough is enough, and it's time. It's time that Rockdale County says enough. It's time the citizens of Rockdale County say, we've had enough. We want to change, and we're going to vote for different people. And I'm just telling you right now, guys, and this is, not got a slate of anybody going on here or whatever. Don't have any running mates or anything like that. But I'm just going to tell you, I intend on voting for Modessa Ahmad. I intend on voting for Justin Kinney. That's who I intend on voting for. Corliss, I think he might resign if I get elected and Justin Kinney gets reelected. I think he will resign. I do think that'll happen. I think he's already got those feelers out there right now. What do I do if this happens? That's why he's got, a I'd like to say hello to some people out there watching the show that are board members that don't support me and that are part of the Oats staff. You might not watch it live, but you are going to watch the show. Hello, and glad you're watching. And when we hire that new superintendent, we'll see if we can't help you find new jobs too. That's all I got to say about that. When we hire that new superintendent, we'll see if we can't help find you some new jobs too, because you need to go to, because you're part of the problem. If you've gone along with this nonsense and you've supported it, you need to go away too. That is just reality. And somebody, Larry Cox, you're so cold. I am not cold. That's the reality of business. And I talked about this poor leadership reflecting down, right? And that's what we have. We have poor leadership reflecting down. Poor leadership reflecting down. That's what we have. So, guys, I'm telling you right now, we need to make a difference in this county. I'm telling you right now, there's 3 people I know you need to vote for to make a difference in this county. Myself, Justin Kinney, and Modessa Ahmad. That will be a great direction in changing the direction of this county. It's 3 people who don't need the money. It's 3 people who will represent you. It's 3 people who will put your needs above our own. That's what I got to say about it. I really hope that you guys think about what's going on right now. I want you to get out there and make a difference. I want you to get out there, work for candidates, help support the candidates that you want to get elected. And that's a big deal. It's a big deal that you do that. So, guys, I want to thank you for tuning in tonight, because without you and your help, change will not occur. I ask you, share the show with your neighbor. Talk to your neighbors. Talk to 10 people. Have them talk to 10 people. Let's spread the word about what we need to do to make change in this county. I ask you to do that because it helps you more than it helps me. It really does. I thank you for coming on the show tonight. Thank you for being a great audience. I look forward to seeing you next Sunday on This Week from Rockdale. And if anybody needs a sign, reach out to me. Reach out and I'll deliver the sign. Ask Mary Boysworth. I brought signs to her. Ask other people on here. I've brought signs to their house. Send me a text. Send me an email. Message me on Facebook. Tell me I need a sign. Shoot me the address. You'll get a sign this week. Guys, thank you for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you next week. And together, we can change Rockdale County and make a difference by putting new people in office. Thanks and good night.